Hello and welcome to Elevate Your Wealth. I'm Casey Elkins, co-founder and managing partner at Elevated Financial Management. I'm joined as always by Mark Stimson, my friend, father-in-law, and business partner, and we've got a really exciting show for you today. We've all seen how everybody on social media is the next Warren Buffett, and they're going to teach you how to do it too, and we're here to talk about that today. But before we get into it, how you doing today, Mark?
I'm doing really good, Casey. I am so excited to be with our viewers today, but you called me friend. That's different. No, not really. But again, I love being here with Casey. I love talking to our viewers. And today we're going to talk about robo-advisors and AI a little bit and why we all need to be concerned to a pretty good degree, because this is causing issues not only for our viewers and investors, but it's causing a problem for planners as well. And it's something we all need to really think about. And I'm concerned about it. And what we're going to talk about, I think, is something everybody that's watching the TV today with us is going to need to know a little bit more about.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's really interesting, right? We've seen, and it's not just one social media platform over the other, but it sure does seem very prevalent on a number of these platforms, Instagram, TikTok,
Yep.
right? But just collectively across social media, it seems like everybody is the sharpest financial advisor that's ever been created, and they're all the next Warren Buffett, ready to give this great advice to the world. And oftentimes we see these things too about setting up to be a day trader, and they're going to teach you how to be a day trader so that you can be successful just like they are. And my first thought with that is always, well, if you're such a successful day trader, then why is it that you need to sell me your course for $30 a month, right? Why don't you just go day trade and make all this money? So, I think it gets people caught up in it because it does sound fun, right? It does sound exciting to think that you can do that, but most day traders fail. I don't remember the exact percentage, but it's high 90 percentile that fail at day trading. Very few people are profitable in that realm. And there's a tremendous amount of risk associated. And so I think really the moral of what we're talking about today, the moral of the story, is you got to be careful about where you're getting your advice.
Yeah, and this is something that allows these, we call them, influencers, right? They can paint a really broad path or swath, you might say, on the internet, on TikTok, and it allows them to have an audience, a very large audience, and a lot of these individuals aren't always knowledgeable about what they're talking about, but people tend to believe. It's like every time we go on Google, right, whatever we Google search is always truth. I think we all know that's definitely not the case. And when it comes to your life savings, I would always tell you, find somebody that's been around a while, check them out, vet their company, look for reviews on these individuals, because if you're listening to people just because they're on TikTok and you're going to make decisions that are going to have long-lasting implications for your lifetime in retirement, it could turn out to be a disaster if they're putting out bad advice. And we know individuals that are very popular in the financial world that we don't have a lot of want to listen to them very much. I think that's the bottom line, right? You have to be careful, and that's what I want to share with our viewers. You have to be careful about where you're getting your information, and are you willing to trust them? Do they really know what they're talking about? And that's why it's such a concern today.
Yeah, and so, we have kind of this very broad range, like you mentioned, right? We have folks that are just a single individual that nobody's heard of, right? And they're ready to give you all this great advice on what's going to happen next, and cryptocurrency is going to take over the entire world, and buy it today because on X date, it's going to push up by 200%. I mean, there's a lot of these promises that get made. And the complication is that you also have people that are much more well known, that are business coaches or whatever, and they are also making very interesting statements along those lines too, about put it all in real estate or put it all in this index or into this fund and it'll grow at 12% every year. And they make these statements, and what's really interesting to me is that you and I cannot make any statements like that. One, because they're not true. But two, we couldn't make those statements even if they were true, because it's a guarantee of performance, which as advisors, we're not allowed to do. And the reason that those people can make those statements is because they're not registered advisors, right?
Exactly.
So I think at the end of the day, if you have somebody telling you that this is a guaranteed return, this is how things always work, that is too good to be true. That is
Right.
not actually how it works. And so we have to be very, very careful about where we get our information and who we're putting our trust in, right?
Yeah.
And the financial world, in reality, has not always had the greatest reputation, right? We
Yeah.
know that to be the case for a number of different reasons. And so that's why we're talking about this today, because from our perspective, it's so important. We hate to see good people making bad decisions. And that's really what this boils down to, is good people with good intent are trying to better themselves, but realistically are kind of getting taken advantage of by people on social media.
Yeah, and that's making it hard for advisors that do the right thing, right? We're fighting that same battle with this information or this misinformation that we have to kind of debunk when clients come into our office, because they will push back on the need for guaranteed income because there's better ways to do it in the market. But again, guarantees matter to all of us. And I know there's a buzzword out there. You need to work with a fiduciary. And we agree with that. Both Casey and I are certified financial fiduciaries. But what I will say is Bernie Madoff was a fiduciary. How'd that work out for everybody, right? So you still need to do the right thing. And you need to be willing to find someone that puts their client's interest first all the time. And it doesn't always happen. People can make mistakes. We know that. We've made mistakes. But what we do is we're going to fix them and do the right thing for clients if we do. And so, again, I just want to highlight the fact, please look for somebody that is a true fiduciary, because there's so much when it comes to emotion involved in this type of planning. A robo-advisor or the internet is going to not be where you want to go when it comes to, making these type of decisions. So Casey, for our viewers today, how can they come and see us?
Well, for those that are listening at home that would like to take advantage of the opportunity to get a written financial plan, this is your chance. If you see the phone number there on the screen, 844-342-7142. This is an opportunity for you to get a written financial plan put together by our team. We are a fiduciary firm, which is very important to us, and we'll talk about your specific circumstance, what you're looking to accomplish in retirement, how you can create income, how you can be tax efficient, what to do for Social Security and Medicare, all those concerns, those worries that are swirling in your mind as you approach retirement. So again, the phone number 844-342-7142. And you see the QR code there on the screen. You can scan that as well. And when you come in, we'll be happy to give you a copy of our new book, Break the Glass, as well. Don't change the channel. Come right back here to Elevate Your Wealth. We're going to talk more about where you get your advice and all the geniuses on social media. See you soon.
Call 844-342-7142 right now for your own written financial plan. Having a clear path to retirement is more than just your savings. This review will include a complete risk analysis on your portfolio, a deep dive fee X-ray to determine how much you are and could be paying on those investments, a tax reduction report, and healthcare and legacy planning for you and your estate. To begin your retirement readiness review, call Casey, Mark, and the team at 844-342-7142 or use the QR code to schedule your appointment right away. Whether your retirement is coming soon or you want to be certain you can stay retired, the written financial plan will help guide you through your retirement planning journey. Call Mark, Casey, and the team at 844-342-7142 or use the QR code to schedule your meeting today.
Are you taking too much risk with your retirement or not enough? Most people aren't sure. That's why we created the Risk Quiz. In just a few minutes, it helps you understand your personal risk tolerance. Your risk score could reveal why your current investments might feel too aggressive or too conservative. It's simple, fast, and can be eye-opening. Scan the QR code or go to elevatedquiz.com to take the quiz and find out if your money matches your mindset.
Hello and welcome back to Elevate Your Wealth. I'm your host, Casey Elkins, joined as always by my partner, Mark Stimson. We're talking about where you can get good retirement advice, good financial advice to make sure that you can be successful in your retirement. And we have seen so often that people are turning to social media to get their advice. And unfortunately, a lot of that advice is coming from people who are not qualified to give it. And so we've got a couple articles that we've been discussing, and I'll share a quote with you because I think this is so important. And Mark, I'm sure you agree with me on this. It says right here, and I think this is great, it says, a successful plan for retirement involves personalized, careful planning that is based on sound mathematical principles.
Yeah.
Right? That is really key. I mean, if you want to sum up good financial advice, I think that sentence does it really well. And on social media, you watch any of these videos, they're very short. Yep. And there is no personalization behind that conversation, obviously, because they're making a video that is, in theory, supposed to reach thousands of people. And what does it say? Well, if you put it in this index, you're going to get 12% return. You wait 20 years and you'll be a millionaire, right? I mean, that's really, that's almost a soundbite from some of the clips that we see. And, you know, that type of advice really, what it does is it lowers the bar and it continues to create distrust in the financial world. And I think that's why this hits home with you and I so much, because that is something that we work on so hard at Elevated Financial Management, to be able to be a source of good information, to be able to educate. That's why we teach at our local colleges in Seattle. That's why we do this TV show. That's why we do our radio show, so that we can help to give good, sound advice founded on true mathematical principles that are going to create success in somebody's retirement. And when we see people that like to call themselves an expert in whatever category that truly are not, or don't have the experience to even have the credentials, it's really frustrating for us.
Yeah, in fact, I want to piggyback what Casey just mentioned, because there's a paragraph in this article, and it's entitled Internet Knowledge versus Genuine Knowledge. And I love this quote. It says, "I share, therefore I know." And the whole point was, and this was a long research that was done on this, and they interviewed several influencers and people in social media, and it made this quote. It said, "Finding that sharers often believed they were knowledgeable about the content of these articles, even when they hadn't read them." See, so, but they talk as if they have. It says, the researchers called the false sense of knowing subjective knowledge and distinguished it from objective knowledge that is actually gained by reading the article. Can you imagine putting something out there, you haven't ever even read it, and yet people are going to want to believe it, right? And so this is where the danger comes in, right? People are being influenced by false information. And I just want our viewers to understand this is serious. You've got to be very careful when it comes to this type of, information that we get. We need to know the source, and we need to really find out, because how many of us are concerned with AI right now? They're going to be able to copy my face or Casey's face and our voices, and you could be getting a phone call and you could think that it's us, and they're going to ask you information possibly about an account you may or may not have, and you're going to believe that it's us. So this is something, the internet and AI and robo-advisors, this is something we all need to be very cognizant of and realize that it could create some bad situations if we're not very careful.
Yeah, the security behind what we do is very important, right? Absolutely. The protocols that we use at our office and in the financial world, very important, as you're mentioning. There's another piece here that I think is really interesting. So over trading, and that might be a term that many folks are unfamiliar with, but I think it's relatively self-explanatory in the sense that if you are trading inside of your own account for retirement, over trading or trading too often really creates a larger opportunity to lag behind the market. And that's exactly what this says. It says that it found that users of social media were significantly more likely to make 10, or those who make 10 or more portfolio trades per month were significantly more likely to lag behind the market. And I think that's really important, because what it is that social media is creating, that where you feel this urgency or you feel like you're missing out, right? I think it creates a lot of FOMO, where people have a fear of missing out and they feel like they're not going to get in on this great opportunity that's there. And sometimes that may be the case, but often it's long-term investing that creates success. It's not day trading that always creates that success. And so, not that we're advocating for just simple buy and hold strategies. We think there are better options than that. But again, it should be personalized, right? And it should come from a retirement plan. And the way that you invest should be cohesive with that retirement plan. And a lot of this advice, one, is not appropriate, and two, is definitely not appropriate for somebody approaching retirement, right? That's really what this boils down to, because the majority of the folks that we work with are on the cusp of retirement or already in retirement. And so the type of investing that you have to do as you get close to your retirement is drastically different than the investing that you should be doing when you're 40. And you have that time to build and you can take the risk. But even then, a lot of this advice is just not correct.
Yeah, in fact, you made a statement, Casey, that we talk about this at our classes on our show all the time. It's not trying to time the market, but it's time in the market, right? And this that we're talking about here, individuals are even taking withdrawals early on their qualified plans, their 401ks or their 403bs or their 457s, without understanding the real consequences of doing that. They could be, if they're doing it before they're 59 and a half, they're going to be smacked with a 10% early withdrawal penalty. They may not even realize that because somebody on the internet told them it was okay and you should do it, and you got a better place you could go with your money and earn a much higher return, as we've been talking about. That's dangerous, right? And it could really mess up your long-term plan because you thought somebody gave you information that is smarter than everybody else. What we're saying today to the viewers is a lot of this internet stuff is going to automatically make you smarter than Warren Buffett, who's worked a lifetime to become one of the greatest investors, if not the greatest investor in stock market history. And that just doesn't happen overnight, right? We know that he's always used sound mathematical principles, right? And getting information to make the decisions he's made to make him the number one investor when it comes to the stock market of all time.
And with investing, the reality is that a lot of those smaller decisions that we make today, they have a lasting impact that we don't feel the effect of them for years to come, right? Yep. And so when we talk about folks taking money out of their retirement accounts too soon, they don't potentially realize that it was too soon until 10 or 15 years down the road. So that wrong advice really can create big issues for you that you'll feel the effects of for a lifetime. And that's the last thing that we want for our viewers, for anybody that we work with. We want you to have a sound written financial plan. And so this is your opportunity. You see the number on the screen. Mark, would you share with our audience what they can expect if they give us a call? Yeah,
please. If you're watching the show today, or maybe you listen to our radio show on a regular basis, please give us a call. The number is 844-342-7142. And if you do that, we're going to talk about taxes with you. We're going to talk about where your income is going to come from. Is it guaranteed? What about medical situations that you have to worry about when it comes to Medicare planning? Do you want to get a med supplement plan or a med advantage plan? What about, do I want to maybe possibly gift to our children or grandchildren now? Is that going to make good sense? So please, the number to call is 844-342-7142. Leave your checkbook at home. All we want to do is have a conversation, right? And if you come into our office, we're going to give you a copy of our book, Break the Glass, and it will solidify everything that we've talked about on our shows on a regular basis. So please just give us a call, 844-342-7142.
Thanks, Mark. Again, for our viewers at home, 844-342-7142. You can also scan the QR code to set a time for us to chat. We look forward to being with you again after our break. We're going to run through some scenarios. They may not fit your situation exactly, but they may be similar to what you're going through. So don't change the channel. Come right back to elevate your wealth.
Call 844-342-7142 now to receive your complimentary tax map with your written financial plan. Learn multiple strategies that can protect you from higher taxes now and in the future. Taxes are a threat to your financial stability in retirement. Protect yourself from the potential threat of rising taxes. As a retirement planning financial advisory firm, Casey, Mark, and the team will help you navigate the financial waters to pursue your retirement goals. Call 844-342-7142 today. Casey, Mark, and the team offer inclusive retirement services, such as investment directives for your portfolio, income-producing strategies, and wealth preservation plans for your family and legacy. Call Mark Casey and the team at 844-342-7142 right now for your complimentary tax map with your written financial plan. Discover tax strategies to keep more of what you have saved in retirement, or use the QR code below to schedule today.
You've got quite an extensive resume. Wow, so many years of management. Bet that was fun. So this job requires basic knowledge of the social media and video platforms, content creation, and SEO. How proficient are you in those areas?
Going back to work after retiring is not ideal. Plan your retirement right. Call now for your own complimentary portfolio review and tax analysis.
Hello and welcome back to Elevate Your Wealth. I'm Casey Elkins, your host. I'm here with Mark Stimson. We've been talking about where you get your advice. Is social media the right place? And I think we've shared enough information to show that that's really not the best place to be getting personalized advice for your individual circumstance to create the retirement that you want. And now we're going to run through a couple of scenarios. And we really love this piece of the equation here because ultimately, Mark, I think that what this does is it allows us to share things that we've seen in the office, and oftentimes if we have one person going through it, there are others that are going through something similar, right? So these are things that we've seen around the office, and they're a little bit broad so that we can try and make them fit to everybody that we're chatting with. But I'll share this first one and let's see what you come up with. So it says they don't need the money from their IRA, yet they must start RMDs at age 73. Are there strategies to reduce the tax hit from RMDs while keeping their investment plan on track? That's a good question, and it's one that we come across quite a bit.
Yeah, in fact, RMD distributions are something that if you don't have a planner that's looking forward or ahead, this could cause what we call the RMD tax torpedo to hit your plan, right? And it's great to have RMDs. And it mentioned here, we know the age that RMD is required now is age 73. We also know that it's going to be moving to age 75. So depending on your age now is going to determine what age you're going to have to start taking the money, whether you want it or not. Now, one of the things that I think doesn't get talked enough about is exactly what you mentioned. Is there some strategies out there where we can reduce that tax on that RMD? It really boils down to, do you need the money, right, in your lifestyle? Do you want to use that income? Because we know that's coming whether you want it or not. So we need to do planning to figure out what to do with that money. And if it's money that's just going to go to our heirs, our children, or possibly our grandchildren, we know the stretch IRA in most instances is now gone. That was done away with a couple years ago. And so do you want, if you're moving that money on, life insurance is a great vehicle to look at, but many of the viewers are going, well, I don't need life insurance. Well, what if it's the best way to pass money on tax-free to your children? So the tax rates of the individuals that's going to be receiving this money needs to be addressed, because you could have very high earners as children or grandchildren, right? Maybe you've got doctors in your family. Moving that money to them could be, in the wrong way, could be a disaster, because they could be in almost a 40% tax bracket. Right. And if that happens, how smart was that? Even though you may want to have done equally. Say you got 3 children. I want to do 33 1/3 to each child. Well, if one is maybe a really large income earner, that could backfire, because he or she could end up with a lot less money than the 2 siblings because you didn't do any tax planning. So realizing what to do with taxes is critical when it comes to RMD planning.
Yeah, it really is. And you know, the reality is that if you're at the age of 73, there's no way around the RMD. Right. You can use a QCD, which is a qualified charitable distribution. And that's a good option, right, if you're charitably inclined. But there's no strategy to just avoid the RMD overall that you can do right now, right? It could be done years in advance so that you don't have to take the RMD later. And so we have a really nice tax tool that I'll share with you in just a second. But ultimately, it comes down to what could you do with that money? So if you're in that circumstance and you're approaching RMD age and you have to take that RMD, then the question becomes, what do you do with the funds? Well, if you don't need the income, number one, you could reinvest it, right? You could reinvest that that money for the future and possibly save that for either a rainy day or future health expenses or whatever that may be. The second option, and this is something that we really think is valuable, is to use this money to enjoy time with your loved ones, because that's what this is all about. So if you don't need the income, but you have to take it, why not consider spending that time together and creating memories? Because ultimately, it's not just about the money, it's about spending the time with the people that you care about and doing the things that you want to do in your retirement. So with that, we'll share this really nice tool. It's called taxbillseattle.com. You see it on your screen there. This is a way for you can scan the QR code, and this will allow you to put in some basic information and run some numbers to see what the taxes might look like for you. And then possibly, if you were to make some changes in your strategy, what that could look like and how that might benefit your overall tax picture. It's completely no cost. There's no obligation behind it. It's a tool that you can use on your own, that you don't need our input for, because ultimately we believe in the education and we believe that bringing these tools to our audience is what we should be doing as fiduciaries, to give people the tools to make the right type of decision. So again, taxbillseattle.com, you see the QR code, you see the URL address. Please take advantage of that. It's a wonderful tool. In addition to that, we've opened up 10 spots for our next 10 callers in the coming week here, and Mark will share with you what you can expect if you give us a call. Please fill them in, Mark.
Yeah, so if you've been viewing today and you've got questions about taxes, we just talked about taxbillseattle.com. Maybe you're thinking about, should I do a Roth conversion? What about income? Where's it going to come from? Is it guaranteed? We also need to worry about taxes. We are heavy into tax planning in our office. We have a CPA that is in our actual office with us. So taxes are major important to us. We're going to look at those with basically a microscope, right? Then we're going to talk about possibly your medical situation. How do you want to move money to your children or grandchildren? Do you need possibly a trust? Have you done much in the estate planning world? So again, these are all things that we're going to address with you. If you just pick up the phone, call us at 844-342-7142. Again, that number is 844-342-7142, because if you come in, we're going to also give you a copy of our book, Break the Glass. So please just give us a call.
Thank you very much, Mark. Again, it's been great having you all here with us today. You see the number on the screen, you see the QR code. This is your opportunity to get a written financial plan. We thank you so much for tuning in with us each and every week here on Elevate Your Wealth, and we look forward to seeing you again next week.